Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. In this video we're going to be taking a first look at the very first S Class Shiva to come into the game. Here she is, you can see her, she's gorgeous, she's got a flower, so she's obviously very cute, but she's brutal at the same time. She's armored up, kind of reminiscent of the 5-star version that had the armor on her. She is a bit more beefy with this, I don't know what this is, like a shoulder guard. On the back of her head, she's got this spiked, whether she's like ramming somebody or something, she's going to be absolutely brutal. She has got an attached weapon, it's her claws, as you can see. They are attached, so she's got like, I don't know, Vega from Street Fighter claws on both of her hands. Is pretty grim. We're going to look at her stats. She's got 3,896 attack, 4,330 defense, and 4,024 HP. Her trait is strangely enough tough, and her role is a tank. So obviously, being a tough character, you would expect someone to be ranged. Shiva can't really be ranged. It's generally tough for two-handed ranged weapons, like ARs and rocket launchers and claws, apparently. We'll take a look at her rush. It's called Focus Reversal. It has got a 76 AP cost, so a normal speed rush pretty much within the S-Class era. Remove focus from up to 2 enemies. Those enemies get taunt and disarm for 2 turns. This character gets 50% bonus HP. So no offensive stuff on her rush. Obviously, that attacks that is only going to affect her basic attacks. You want to load up on defense, you want to load up on HP. There is no reason to increase her attack at all. I mean, basic attacks, you just don't need to increase basic attack damage on this character. I mean, 100% plays into the tank role. Very selfish on the rush. I mean, she is effectively going to be taunting characters away from attacking her teammates, so maybe not so selfish, but nothing, she doesn't do anything to teammates, no buffs, you know, nothing like that, no cleanse, nothing like that. So she is playing into that tank role very, very well. The 50% bonus HP is pretty grim, however. If you do get this character, like I said, you are going to load it up with defense and HP, and you can easily get up to like 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe even 12k HP, depending on, you know, weapon upgrades, depending on other characters in your teams and their 4 slots and their 5-star weapons. And that 50% bonus HP is suddenly going to become like 4 to 6k bonus HP on her rush, which would be insane. Like, that's such a boost in HP. There are some S-Class characters that just about get that on defense team, and she would get that as a boost. So at that point, obviously, she'd potentially have like 18,000 HP, which is crazy. Obviously, you can bypass this with bleed, so there is a counter to this. She hasn't got like proper self-sustain here because bleed bypasses bonus HP. For instance, if she's got a 10 bleed on her, she's got 5 HP, but like 20 million bonus HP, she'll die the next turn because it bypasses. Same with burn, it bypasses bonus HP. But that is pretty hard to deal with. Bonus HP is pretty grim for the majority of people and the teams they're going to be running right now. We'll move across and look at her active skill, Recover All and AP Gain. Initial cooldown of 3, cooldown of 4, number of uses 10. So generally speaking, you'd have actives that were 2, 3, 5, but this is a 3, 4, 10. This character recovers from all penalties and gains 20 AP. So obviously the first part, this character recovers from all penalties, is obviously great. She's going to recover from absolutely everything. As long as she's not controlled, she's going to recover. So for instance, if she's stunned, she can't recover from stun. But if she is taunted but has focus, she could recover from that taunt. She can recover from bleed. She can recover from anything, as long as she's able to take a turn. Now, there are obviously counters to this. For instance, if you load up negative effects on her and you give her trauma, a character that's been released widely, obviously being Angel, has 3,000 trauma. For every negative effect Shiva would take at that point, if she did have 3,000 trauma on her, she'd take 3,000 damage. The thing is, like I said before, she could have so much HP that even if she took 9k damage, she could still have, you know, 9k HP, because it would hit the bonus HP first, and then it would hit the normal HP. And she's generally going to do her rush before her active because it is 3, 4, 10, so she's going to have the bonus HP at that point. Now again, it is quite a selfish active. It is quite strange that it's only 20 AP over 20%. I think they're trying to make it a little bit more straightforward to understand. 20 AP is around about 25%, so not a huge amount of percentage AP there. It is just a flat base increase. Generally, you'd want this to be 2, 3, 5, and that AP being a bit higher, she is going to be slowed down on this. She's not going to rush, except on a defense team if she did have a huge AP on attack weapon and a huge AP on attack leader, because she'd get 56 AP from one turn on the defense team at that point, and then the 20 AP would just boost her straight into 76. So she'd only just have enough at that point. Now, there are some huge bonus leads for defense teams, but generally speaking, they don't make the team more defensive. And Shiva, if she is a tank, you just generally want to tank out your defense team at that point. It's going to slow down enemies because of that huge amount of HP that she can get. Now, here's where the issue comes in with Shiva in terms of what makes her go from a pretty brutal tank, just amount of HP that she could potentially get, to being absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, specialist skill being Payback. It's going to be the first S-Class Payback character coming to the game. We are in the first 25 characters into the S-Class era, so I think this is quite early, if I'm honest, but we have got some tools to deal with Payback now. I'm going to read out what the specialist skill does. It says, if this character were to take more than 30% of their max HP in a single rush or active skill, deal that same damage back to the attacker and up to 2 additional enemies. This only includes actual damage, so bleed damage bypasses Payback, so would trauma, and so would exhaust. And those are the 3 best ways to kind of deal with Payback if it is active. Now, we have been given tools to deal with powerful specialist skills, obviously, and that is Normalize. But Shiva can recover Normalize on her active skill. So if you do get Shiva, you're going to want to load up as much taunt resist as possible. You know, you want to get the highest percentage you can, because one of the main characters that's going to have Normalize is going to be Princess. And the thing with Princess is she has 2 controls on her active. It's a 3-turn taunt and 3-turn normalize. Now, if Shiva resists the taunt, she can recover the normalize. But if she doesn't resist the taunt, she's going to be controlled, and those 3 turns she's going to have no payback. Rushes are going to just be effectively 100% risk-free at that point. So do load up on taunt resist if you want to make your Shiva a bit more powerful. Now, she has got an attached weapon, of course, those claws that I don't know, she's going to be throwing at the enemy. I've got no idea. I do want to see this animation of how she's going to attack. The claws have 30% attack, a medium bonus to AP when attacking, and when being attacked, a better chance to cause 2,000 bleed damage to the enemy for 1 turn. So I think this weapon could have been improved quite a bit. Obviously, 30% attack is not the greatest, but I think maybe the reason they did 30% attack is because they want you to decide whether you're going to for defense or HP. I think in that situation, if they're going to do that, they could have probably given, let's say, 10% attack on the weapon and made the middle slot a huge bonus to AP when attacking, if that's the reason they did it, because you're losing an upgrade at this point, whereas if you're probably going to keep a huge bonus to AP when attacking. I think that would be a better way to go if that's the case. In terms of upgrading this character, you probably want to go for HP, just because of the bonus HP. It counters bleed, which is obviously one of the best things to counter payback characters. More HP, the better. But also, you don't want to raise that defense too much, so she still takes pretty decent damage from rushes, because that will make her payback actually happen. If you raise her defense to like 10,000, she's actually probably not going to take that much damage from rushes, so you could still potentially rush her down with the likes of Priya, Arav, that sort of thing. Now, the third slot, this is pretty high damage, but I think this definitely could have been improved. Instead of it being 2,000 bleed damage, which is devastating, I think it would be better if it was 1,000 damage for 2 turns. It would have made Shiva's viability a bit better on like certain bleed teams, on defense and attack, because the way it works right now is if someone attacks Shiva, they get 2,000 bleed, and then the rest of their team attack, and then they take that bleed damage instantly. So any lacerators on the defense team or any lacerators on an attack team in that situation just wouldn't be able to lacerate that damage. Where if it was 1,000 for 2, the first turn instantly they'd take 1,000, and then a lacerator would come in and double it, and just there would be higher potential for wider usage. And I think that would have been a better situation. This character would have made, obviously, the weapon a bit more powerful, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. 2,000 damage is a lot, though, and she's going to be on a defense team. This is going to massively counter 6-star characters, which is still utilized to a certain extent on attack teams, just because. And the main reason people use 6 stars on attack is we need those support characters that actually do like very particular things. Defense down, there's no real defense down character on S-Class. A lot of S-Class characters just heavy damage dealers, and you don't really necessarily need 5 of those on an attack team. You need the controllers, you need the support characters that can buff. You know, it's better to get a 50% buff on 4 S-Class characters than it is to take another S-Class character who's a damage dealer, because the overall damage output of your entire team at that point is massively increased by that buff. So it's going to be dangerous for those 6-star characters for sure, because most roll around with what, less than 4,000 HP, even fully buffed and fully ret ringed everything, so that is definitely going to be a problem. Now obviously with her rush, she's going to be taunting people into that weapon. She's going to be disarming them as well, so I guess she's going to be wanting to stop like stun on attack, that sort of thing. Taunt resist is going to be obviously very important, otherwise your characters are just going to be taking bleed damage. With Payback, big thing here is on defense teams, it's going to counter certain characters that do line damage, because the great thing about Payback is it counters certain types of controlled damage. For instance, like Arav's line rush is very controlled. You know what characters it's going to attack, so you can actually avoid Payback. But let's say you put your most offensive character in the same line as Shiva, let's say a Priya with Rampage, you're effectively shielding that Priya with Shiva from Arav, because Arav will nuke his entire team potentially if he does do that line attack. Now there are obviously counters to this. We do have Guardian Shield characters on defense team, so if Shiva had a Guardian Shield, and let's say Priya did as well, you could break the Guardian Shield with a basic attack from any of your characters, do the line damage and kill Priya. Shiva would take no damage at that point, so it would not proc Payback. So you've got to be very careful in how you build your defense teams. Certain things are a disadvantage, Guardian Shield being the main one. Unless she's got the highest HP, I do believe Guardian Shields go to the lowest HP, so Shiva would be the last character to get a bonus shield at that point. And if that was to happen, it wouldn't be too big a deal, because 5 Guardian Shields is actually really, really frustrating to deal with. So definitely ways to counter this, but she's going to be very, very hard to deal with. You're going to actually have to level up the characters that I've talked about. Princess, I've been talking about for months. If you've got a chance to level her up, definitely get her into 6-star. Even as a 6-star, she's still useful. That normalize is going to be so important right now. I didn't see Payback being the first like dangerous specialist skill to come out. I kind of saw Bide being the first one, because it isn't as powerful in the S-Class era, and I think it would be more of a stepping stone towards Payback. Payback is much more powerful, but you can build Shiva wrong. So we'll see when people get this character, how they'll build her. You know, if they build too much defense, it's kind of nice. Kind of bypass it with bleed teams quite easily. You can still disarm her weapon. It is a lot of bleed, but you can still disarm it. There are definitely ways around dealing with Shiva, but she's just going to be an annoyance on a defense team, and you don't really want to be focusing your time and your effort on disabling a tank. You want to be disabling a damage dealer. Damage dealers can wreck you turn 2, turn 3, and Shiva's going to slow down the game on a defense team by a couple of turns for a lot of teams. I'm most likely going to do a temple for this character just because it's Shiva. I'd say like top 5 characters in the game in terms of just like comic book Walking Dead characters. She's a lovely fluffy. She's a lovely fluffy, and she's got a flower, so she, like I said, she's really cute. You'd love to see her on the battlefield, right? No, that would be the answer, would be no. Unless she's on your team, you'd be very, very happy. Like, thank you Shiva, for saving me. But tell me what you think about Shiva. Will you be doing any pulls for her? 100 pull is a guarantee of her 5-star ascendable, and you will get some of her collection items as well. Or tell me your plans on how you want to deal with this character. If she's going to be on a defense team, what are your ideas to try and, you know, make her less of an issue, which I can see her being a big issue. That is the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.